Hello people, welcome to new episode of one-on-one interviews about physical performance. This time something completely different, as I'm hosting for the first time a basketball player, currently shooting guard for Baskonia basketball, Matthew Jennings. Matt, thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you.
Perfect. You know that the main goal of these interviews is to share knowledge, theoretical knowledge and practical knowledge and experience that we gain on the court. So I will host not only strength and conditioning coaches, but physiotherapists, sport nutritionists, sport scientists, doctors, even head coaches. However, I think a really big piece of our job is communication with our players and also learning from their experiences. So I think we can learn a lot, not only through these kind of interviews, but from daily work with our athletes, because I honestly believe that when we work in a team environment, especially with the elite players, 50% of the quality of our work comes from our theoretical knowledge and 50% comes from our practical background and experiences. I think also that when we work with players, we need to listen to them and also communicate, because we have to respect their individual needs, their routines, their habits and so on. It's not the same to start making program in the season without considering, for example, individual playing time in the games, or when we are designing strength program and conditioning during the preseason, we have to know what players did in the off season, so our program can be much more effective and efficient. So without further ado, I would like to start with the questions, because I'm really looking forward to hear Matthew's answers. And first, Matt, I want to ask you one simple thing. I want to know how you look at the differences between European and USA strength and conditioning, because in the last more or less 10 years you have been in Europe, but you have changed so many countries: Turkey, Israel, Russia, Spain, Italy, even you spent some months in Croatia. So back in the US, you went through high school program, you went through a really good college program, you have even experience in the NBA. So can you compare a little bit these two systems?
Yeah, I think it's difficult to compare US to European, because I think most of you guys, you have your own ideas, but you also steal little things from everywhere. So like you said, I worked with a really good strength coach in college. In the NBA, we had another great strength coach in Phoenix. In Europe, I've played in many different countries, but like when I was in Russia, the strength coach was a Greek. Turkey, Croatia, Italy, Spain. I mean, you guys all have similar ideas. It really just depends on the person themselves and what they believe can help players and what they want to give, you know. In college, it's a little bit different, because, you know, you have guys that are 17 to 22 years old. So of course you can destroy these guys, you know, you can push them as hard as you want, and you can get more out of, once you get to the pro level, you know, guys are a little bit more focused on themselves and they need to have their own small program and work on this. In Phoenix, it was speaking about the program specifically, it was more like, I felt light weights, body weights, core, a lot of like quick movements. And coming over to Europe, it was more like a broader range, a little bit of everything. You mix this with band work, heavy weights, a lot of leg work, squats, lunges, everything like this. So for me, it really depends on the coach, because you're going to get kind of a full aspect of everything.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Let's talk a little bit more about your experience at the college, because I think the college level is the point of career of American players where you probably make the furthest step when it comes to physical conditioning and even like muscle hypertrophy or whatever. Usually this is the stage of career where players get the most, and then they are ready to become professionals. Can you tell us a little bit more about that experience? What was the highest value behind that program at the college?
For me, it was learning how to lift weights. I mean, in high school, we had programs where they instructed us. They basically had teachers that were in there kind of guiding us and trying to teach, but I'll be honest, I wasn't interested in doing anything in high school. I just wanted to go, play football, play basketball, just play. When I got to college, it was, first couple days, practice was good, and then all of a sudden, I was getting beat up. I was getting thrown around. I came into college 162 pounds. I don't know what that is in kilos, but
not even 80.
Yeah, just to compare, first day 162 pounds, and before we started the season, so after 2 months, I was already 185. So, it's little things like working with that strength coach. He taught me first how to just go every day and show up. Don't worry about being tired. Don't worry about, I can't lift weights today because it'll ruin my shot. No, you do it every day, be consistent and work hard, and you're going to be able to do pretty much anything in the weight room. So for me in the college, it was really just learning how to lift weights and then which exercises really benefit me towards playing games.
Excellent. I mean, I saw it from our daily work, your squats, deadlifts, everything when it comes to basic lifts, even cleans. You do a lot of them. Not so many guys on our team do it at this moment. Mainly you and Toko are the guys who are consistent with it. So I think that's really nice to have. Let's go even one step back, because just a couple of days ago we spoke about, it was 2 days ago, when we spoke about your high school experience, and I didn't know that you did like a young athlete career in track and field, or like track. So you were running cross country and stuff like that. Do you consider that it helped you in some kind of way when it comes to playing basketball later on? You can also share with us your experience with football, and also like what did you get from football in order to become better basketball player?
I mean, yeah, for me it was growing up. I played everything. When I was young, I played. First sport was basketball always. But I played. I'd set the basketball down and play baseball. I'd play football. 8th and 9th grade year of high school, I ran track. 1 year I ran cross country. Did a little bit of everything. Play golf in the summers. I think for kids, this is the way it should be. You should try everything. Maybe you're really good at 2 or 3 things, then you can kind of pick and choose. Maybe you're really good at one. Maybe you just like to be out there with your friends and have fun. So I think you got to try everything. So for me, it was doing everything, and then like you said, using like track and field, I ran long distance. So of course, doing stuff like this transitioned me to the basketball court, and I was able to, my style of play is running off screen, shooting. So if there's any way that I can use to not get tired, this is going to benefit me. So running long distances, obviously I can, be out on the court longer times, move around, run off screens, do everything. So I think it did benefit me. And then playing a sport like football, the mental toughness that comes with football, and going through practices, doing all kinds of crazy drills with pads and helmet and everything on, this kind of prepares you for, any other sport where you're not going to go through stuff like that. So I think playing a lot of other sports definitely helped me prepare, body, mind, skill, everything for basketball.
Excellent. When it comes to basketball, what are the qualities that you consider that are the most important when it comes to your specific position, like shooting guard, even like point guard, shooting guard? What are the qualities that every player should have, like traits regarding strength, quickness? How do you see that?
I mean, I think you got to focus a lot on legs. If you don't have legs, as any player in basketball, not only shooters, but if you don't have legs, you're going to be tired by halftime. Not only shooting, but running, playing defense, everything. But for me specifically as a shooter, you see me work. Sometimes I like to do squats and cleans and stuff like you said. just to keep my legs in shape and ready for anything. I feel like if I don't do stuff like that, I start to regress and lose a little bit of my pace and stuff like that. So for me, it's a lot of leg work to be prepared. Band work, I think resistance stuff is good for any position, but for shooters, it's extremely good for quick fakes and move. You got a split second to get open and get that shot off. So the better your twitch muscles and twitch mentality, stuff like that. If you can work on that and increase your ability with those things, the game becomes easier.
Excellent. I have one question that now popped to my mind when you said like having quality to go off screens, open for a shot, just like for a tiny little part of a second. I wanted to ask you, how important, of course, now we can say the more explosive your legs are, the more explosive you're gonna move, you're gonna open. But do you also consider that anticipation of what is happening on the court and getting yourself ready by knowing what you're gonna do and positioning yourself on the court is equally important as having these qualities of strength?
Yeah, I think it's two different things, right? So you're speaking about the strength part and then preparation, mental, all this stuff. So you can do stuff in the weight room, you can do your leg work, and that's one part of it. And then watching film, going through 5-on-0, going through stuff in your mind, preparing. Everything you do is preparing for your moves to get yourself open, to make your plays. So yeah, it all kind of combines together. But this is what kind of makes great players. If you can first prepare your body and then prepare your mind, you're going to be able to do some good things.
Yeah. The reason why I'm asking this is the fact that I don't see it very often like a problem, but there are certain players who come to the gym, they just want to do the work, lift weights because that's what the gym is for, but they don't think about how these exercises, simple exercises such as squats, split squats or whatever, how it is connected to the court. And that's, I think, the most important gap that we have to fill when it comes to communication between strength coach and very often lifting areas are remote, like far away from the court. Okay, here in Baskonia we have option in our training facility to use lifting area very close to the court, so we can actually transfer and do some exercises together. But when you are just like in the gym, I think it's very important for strength coaches to not to explain players how they need to move, but just to try to get them closer to thinking how these exercises can help them on the court. So basically, you can even ask a player, okay, when you do a squat, tell me what is the movement that would help you on the court. And I think bridging this gap between lifting and movements on the court, especially for the guys who need like super quick movements, is something that is very valuable. I don't know if you have experience with that with other strength coaches. I don't talk to you in that way that often because you're a smart guy. You are the one who knows what he gets from lifting and you transfer it to the court. But do you think that in general it's important piece of information that strength coaches should do with their players?
Yeah, I think like you said, having our practice facility in Bach where we have the court and the weights are right there. I think a setup like this is really beneficial for stuff like that, because you can do, if you're working on legs and explosive, if you're going to do 6 explosive squats and then just stop, well then, like you said, most players don't know why they're doing that explosive squat. If you can do the squats, go to the court, do you sprint across, catch, rip through, and finish strong at the rim, you're working on both things, and you're including that explosive jump into a finish with the basketball. So combining things like that, when it was my second year in Siena in Italy, and the strength coach who's now in Milan, Giustino, he combined those things, and that was the first time I really understood that we were combining leg work with court work. And you kind of start to see like the values, because I felt great that year, and it was a lot to do with the program that he had set up. And then, from then on, personally for me, try to just continue those things throughout my career. So I think, doing stuff like that, when you can combine things on the basketball court, it changes everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think sometimes head coaches don't like it, especially here in Europe. Like what is strength coach doing, like with the ball? Usually, I don't like. Even though I can do some stuff, like I don't say, for example, how you should dribble or when you should make a dribble, what is the moment. I'm just saying to players, like if we have a chance to connect the exercises, I'm just saying, like, for me the most important thing is how you push the floor or how you jump up or how you some simple thing that it's actually, it can be related to regular jump, but why it cannot be a dunk, so players will be more motivated, and I think it's gonna work much better. I like it. One question that it's kind of tricky a little bit about your body weight. I want to hear your opinion about many people saying that you need to gain weight in order to be better player, but I have never seen you suffering, especially in Europe. We can debate about NBA if you would go to NBA, but I would like to hear your opinion about it, because I honestly believe that, okay, maybe 1 or 2 kilos, but you don't need 5 to 10 kilos more. Why? Because your legs are strong, you can defend full court, you can defend any player in Europe on your position. Okay, in mismatch, but in mismatch everyone can suffer, and I have never seen any problems in the offense. I saw you dunk the ball, you shoot usually wide open because you find a place to create, you find a way to create space to shoot. So I would like to hear a little bit your opinion about it.
Yeah, I think for me, I can speak on my personal opinion or experience, whatever you want to say. When I came into college, like I said, I needed to gain weight. I gained a lot of weight quick and changed my body, and I think going through that, it prepared me for everything coming down the road. Can I gain more? Maybe. Trust me, I've tried. And my body type, I don't know if it just doesn't allow it, or I'm not doing enough, but I feel like I do a lot throughout the summer, throughout the season, and I can't gain kilos and keep them. So I think the best way to look at something like that with young players or guys that want to gain weight or lose weight is you have to be strong in your body. My body's different from Toko. If Toko comes in here and he lifts for 2 weeks straight, he's gonna blow up. That's just his style. For me, it's different. I'm not gonna get like huge, but if I'm as strong as I can be in the body that I have, I know that's gonna translate to the court, and I know the things that I can do. So it's different, because you can look at some guys and they can have the same body as me, and you can't move them. They're strong. They're physically they're a beast, but they might not look like that. And then you got some guys that are big like Toko, and they don't have the mentality, or they're just naturally big, but they don't have that like strength to really push. So I don't know. It's difficult, because I feel like a lot of people look at athletes and they say, he's not a basketball player, there's no way. Or you look at, a guy like Kyle Hines, who, at the eye test, he's a beast. Okay, he's a beast on the court too, but if you just look at him, you say, oh, he's for sure a basketball player, But, someone like me, a lot of people say, how's it possible? But, you got to be strong in your body.
Yeah, because I have never seen that it bothers you, because you were pretty successful in every task that you were trying to accomplish. So I just I wanted to hear your opinion, not only to hear your opinion, but to encourage other coaches not to think always that when you have, like, I would not even consider you skinny, you're not a skinny guy, you're just like a regular type of guy. But when okay, with skinny guy, you might say, okay, he needs to gain some weight. But with a regular guy who says that this is my body, we don't have to, like the starting point, I'm talking more to younger strength coaches, that starting point doesn't have to be, oh, this guy must gain weight, because sometimes players, if you don't ask them, some players might feel comfortable with the weight that they have because they feel quick, you know, they are sharpshooters, they play, I don't know, second division in I don't know which country where you don't play very physical, you know, so you have to also know the league where the player plays. It's not the same if you play French league, Spanish league, or Russian league, you know, different type of guys, different philosophies when it comes to strength. So that's the main reason why I wanted to hear your opinion, you know, to encourage coaches to also think a little bit outside the box, not always, you are that kind of guy, you should be 5 kilos more.
Yeah,
you know?
I think you have to be careful. It's something where, as a coach, like, you don't know, like, first day I came, you don't know anything about me. So of course you look at me or any player that comes in, you say, okay, he needs to add a few kilos. So you push. But then you need 1, 2, 3 months, and you see somebody working, and this is who they are. Then you have to learn them and then adapt your program to what they need. There's also some guys that are going to tell you, hey, I feel good, this is my body, but you know that they can be stronger. So you have to figure out, as a coach, I think you need to figure out who you can push, who's doing the work on their own, and you just need to give them kind of the program, and they can follow this. So there's two sides to it, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the best way to see if the guy is saying like I'm good, but actually doesn't work, is defense. Because if in defense you suffer against your position, it's obvious, you know. If every time the guy penetrates, you cannot withstand it, then it's a problem, you know. And that's why I wanted to ask you, because that there are moments when someone plays against you and he beats you one-on-one, but it doesn't happen in 80% of the cases. It happens 20-30%, which is normal for a basketball, you know. So okay, perfect. With this question we're gonna finish the first part and then we start the second part.
All right.
Okay, guys, we are coming back soon. I'm really looking forward to hearing answers from Matthew, so stay tuned. Okay, guys, so welcome back to episode of one-on-one interviews with Matthew Jennings. Now, Matt, tell us a little bit about how you see the position of strength and conditioning coach on the team. What do you think? Okay, regarding, like, we can say the major responsibilities are lifting weights, maybe some conditioning, maybe some recovery, but how do you see the role of strength and conditioning coach on the team?
I think, you know, they gotta be able to give players kind of a guide to improve their bodies and to prepare their bodies. At the same time, you know, most strength coaches I've been around, they've kind of been almost part of the team, one of the guys. They're like the fun coach. Guys always want to hang out with them or joke around, be around them, you know. So this is kind of a role that I don't know if all strength coaches are good at it or if they just kind of adapt to it, but I think you have to be able to keep it loose, keep it fun, because, you know, the work in here is serious, but at the same time you got to be able to have fun in here. And then when we go to the court, you know, it's pretty much serious, and you know, you're practicing, and of course you can have fun on the basketball court too, but you know, when you're in here, it's kind of keeping everybody in a good mood and preparing everybody for practice and just having fun.
Excellent, perfect. When it comes to the role of strength and conditioning coach, what do you appreciate the most? Like when it comes to your relationship with strength and conditioning coach, doesn't matter, European, American, doesn't matter. I
think, you know, speaking about the work, is finding a program that fits me as a player. Because I've worked with some coaches that just have a general program and it's the same for every player. So if you're going to do this, like, you know, me and Illy, we need different things, right? He needs, you know, maybe heavier bench press or something like this. He's always playing down low in the paint, and, you know, I'm outside. So, you know, it's different. And if you treat all the players the same, no one's going to improve in the areas that they absolutely need. So if you can, as a coach, if you can adapt one program for guards, one program for, you know, a big, one program for a shooter, one program for, you know, whatever you got to do. I think this is the most important factor for a strength coach for me. And then just being someone that you can talk to and enjoy being around. Go for a coffee, go for food, go for dinner. Doesn't matter what you're going to do, but just having a voice that you can talk to that's not like a coach for the basketball part.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Based on your previous experiences, I want to hear, of course we're not going to name anyone, but if you had some bad experiences, and with this I want to achieve another goal, that we tell the younger guys and experienced coaches what players don't like. You know, so if you can recall some of the situations with strength coaches that you didn't like as a player. Of course, every player is different. You know, some players like to be yelled at. Some of the players hate it. You know, so can you give us like a couple of examples where strength and conditioning coach did something that you didn't like?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in situations over in Europe where, you know, we had a set time to do our shooting in the morning, and then you combine that with weights right after your shooting, and basically we made our own programs. You know, players, we were in the weight room together, the strength coach was there, and he just kind of said, do your own thing. And okay, I kind of know some things, but at the same time, you, as a player, I'm not thinking about making a program that attacks, you know, all the areas of my body. You know, I'm thinking, okay, I can do squats, I can do some bench, and, you know, then my mind starts to think about other things. And if I had a program, this is important. So I think as a coach, giving the program for a young player specifically, because I mean, a lot of guys, they don't know, you know, how to combine a bench press with a pull, you know, something like this where you work both sides. Mm-hmm. If you can do this for a young player and they understand how to do that, then it's only going to benefit them. So having a strength coach that's constantly yelling, I have never been around anything like this, but I don't know, I think it can go both ways. Like you said, some guys need this, they like this. I think in the weight room, you don't need this. If you can figure out a way to work, and, you know, if you're going to have fun and yell when someone's bench pressing, you know, 200 kilos, something like this, yeah, then this is a fun aspect of it, like I was talking about before. But I think you gotta give the program, give the work, and then keep it loose. You know, guys do what they have to do their work, and then go about their business.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Okay, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about your pre-game routine, and also we can talk later on about post-game routine. The main reason why I'm asking is so that you can give us the answer why you do those things. You know, you can tell us what is your routine, like individual routine, before we go layup lines, team layup lines, and explain a little bit why you do specific things.
Yeah, so for me it's a lot of shooting, and then mind preparation, stretching. That's, you know, I don't do a ton. The shooting part is obviously to prepare, and then, you know, for me, one thing, I like to shoot almost out to half court, and that's, you know, some people look at it like, you know, it's kind of fun, which, you know, for me it is fun, but it's mentally it's preparing my legs. If I can make a shot from 2-3 meters behind the 3-point line, I can make a shot from the 3-point line. So for me, it's all preparing my legs and preparing different little movements. And then I'll go stretch for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. If I'm feeling a little bit, you know, sluggish or anything, I'll move up and down a little bit, and then more stretching. So for me, it's a lot of just mental preparation, get my muscles feeling good, loose, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. What kind of stretching do you like to perform? I mean, I know it, but I have to ask because of the guys.
Hamstring, I mean, mostly legs. I mean, it's a little bit back, but legs, hamstrings, groin, basically everything, calves, stuff like that. Get my hips loose. I have a specific routine that I've done for, I don't know, the last 6 or 7 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I stick to it. It's what works for me. I think as a player, you have to find a routine and then be consistent in that. If, obviously some guys are superstitious and you have to do certain things and then, okay, I'm good. But if you can find, a routine, prepare yourself, kind of what's coming next. So exactly. I think this is the most important part.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. I like the part with preparing legs and shots. That was my question when I saw you for the first time shooting like from 9 meters, and I said like, okay, I have to ask why, and then the answer was one of the best that I was given to. One more question about stretching during this routine of yours. Do you focus more on dynamic stretch? Do you like to do some static stretches? If you do static stretches, how long do you perform them? Just to be clear a little bit on that side.
For me, I do only static because I know I'm going to do dynamic with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay.
I'll do static. I just like to lay on the floor and do my stretches there, and it really depends on how I'm feeling that day. I can go from anywhere from 10 to maybe 30 seconds on each one. So I'll do, one side first, then I'll switch to the other leg and just go through the same routine. So I don't know, 8 or 10 different stretches, and it takes me about 4 or 5 minutes. So anywhere from 10 to 30 seconds in there, and then I'll move to the next.
Excellent. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the post-game routine. I mean, I know more or less what you do, but I would like you to explain to the guys, like what do you start hitting first, and what, like, even all the way until you go to bed.
Yeah, I'll have, as soon as the game finishes, coach speaks and everybody leaves. We have a great nutritionist here, so I like to get protein and a little bit of food first before I do anything, and then just kind of sit there and recover. I'll throw some ice on, knees, ankles, wherever I need ice. And then for me, a little bit stretching here and there, but a lot of times, I just like to cool off, let my mind get away from everything that just happened, win or lose. You kind of just have to be able to remove yourself, and I think that's one thing as a young player I struggled with, is constantly thinking of what just happened, which I think it's good, but at the same time I think you need to be able to remove yourself from those things and focus on recovery and sleep and nutrition, all those things that are going to benefit you for the next day. So for me it's nothing too crazy. Sometimes I'll go in the cold tub, do some therapy, but it really just depends on how I'm feeling. I don't have a strict routine for post game.
Yeah. And I know that you're always consistent with your protein shake, some snack if we are at home. On away games, so we don't have many snacks. But do you also consider the day after the game? If the next, for example, game is played in 48 hours, do you still think, do you still keep thinking about recovery on the game, on the day after the game, to call physios, do some different things regarding, I don't know, cycling, extra stretching, whatever?
Yeah, I think it's good to get in and do something. Obviously, everything depends on how your body feels. So, there's going to be days where, coach is going to ask you to do a lot. You're going up and down, whether it's 5-on-0, maybe some 5-on-5. Day after a game, it's tough. It's tough. Mentally, you got to get through it, but at the same time, you gotta be smart. So whatever you can do that. And if your body's not feeling it, then you got to find a way to calm yourself. Do a little bit more stretching before or after. Figure out what you need, and then go from there. So if it's, like you said, physios, if it's nutrition, rest, whatever you got to do, you got to do it. But I do think, for me personally, it's good to sweat a little bit, get in, move around, shoot, just kind of feel your body and get the blood flowing a little bit.
Excellent. What are the most important methods of recovery that you do at home, besides going to bed and or taking a nap in the afternoon?
Foam roll, stretching at home, and then I have a Normatec machine, so compression therapy. That's really the main things I do at home. In the summer times, during summer workouts and stuff like that, I'll get ice or game ready or something like that, just so I can have that on hand. But other than that, it's really taking care of your body with nutrition and sleep.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Excellent. Now we started to talk about home, so let's ask you a question about your family. You have really nice and big family now, 2 kids. So I wanted to ask you how important the family life and personal life with them is, and connect it a little bit to your professional career.
Yeah, I mean, family's always going to come first before anything. So, I'll wake up now and think about the girls, my wife, everybody, family back home. So when I was obviously younger, I woke up thinking about, when can I go to practice? Basketball first, but gears changed, and now with 2 young kids, you have to, focus on them first, and then, kind of when it's time to work, it's time to work. So I think it's important. Obviously, my house is pretty full now, so we're constantly busy. The older one is moving around, walking and everything, and now we have the new baby. So, we're constantly busy. My wife is like a machine at home. She's constantly taking care of them, and sometimes I don't know how she does it, but I try to help as much as I can and just sometimes stay out of the way. But it's a new aspect for both of us, and I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a positive type of stress, and I think it's great experience. I'm really looking forward to my experiences with kids. But I wanted to ask you something even more specific when it comes to this new situation of having kids. First kid that you got happened during summertime, so it was planned really well because you didn't suffer in the first months of that period during the season. And now even the second kid came during Corona quarantine, so you planned it pretty well.
Yeah.
However, kids are kids. We can say that, okay, first months are the hardest. You have to adjust to your kid. Even your wife has to understand what kid really need, or a baby. So having kids at home is kind of difficult for a professional athlete. So can you share with us some challenges that you had, and maybe even give some examples on how you deal with it, how you find solutions, how you organize things with your wife, just so players can hear about it, and even more important, coaches who would later on maybe suggest, strength coaches who would suggest to their players, hey, maybe you can try this because we heard that Matthew is doing it.
I think it's one of those things, like, with kids, you can't control anything. You can try as much as you can. Hey, we're going to put you to sleep at 7 and you're going to wake up at 7. Well, the kid wakes up at 5 and plans have to change, right? So there's no telling what happens. I mean, my older daughter, she's pretty good on a sleep schedule, but she'll still have days where she'll wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning and she just wants to play with her toys. She's not crying, but she's awake. So if we're asleep and all of a sudden we hear her talking on the camera, we wake up and we're just sitting there, waiting for her to fall back asleep. And, it's cutting into your good sleep. Luckily, like you said, right now we don't have to worry about games or really tough practices because of the pandemic and the virus and everything. So the planning for me personally was perfect. But obviously, before all this happened during the season, there was times when she would wake up crying in the middle of the night and need a diaper change or just want to lay with us, and she wouldn't go to sleep. So we're up from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. Trying to get her to go back to sleep, and then I wake up the next day and I have to go to practice at 10 o'clock. Mm-hmm. It's tough, but I think it's one of those things where you don't really understand it until you are a parent, and you just get through it. You just get through it. So you can be exhausted, show up to practice, eyes tired, face, you haven't eaten anything, and you just got to get through it, get to 12 o'clock, do your work hard, and then at 12 o'clock, forget it and get your rest, recover, and do all those things that you need to do. So I think the one change that we made, me and my wife, we didn't really do a lot because our older daughter was pretty good sleeping and eating wise. But the one thing we did do that she respected, my work is, the day before the game, if anything did happen, she would try to take care of the baby by herself and let me rest, prepare for the game. But then, the day after is on me again. So you got to be able to help out where you can and make things work as a family. I don't think there's any answer to a question that you had. I don't think there's a right answer. You just got to make it work, and then you got to respect people who also have kids. So if I come into practice and I'm dead tired and that's the reason, okay, it's not an excuse, but you kind of got to respect it a little bit. It's not like I was out at a club or partying the night before. Exactly. And something like this. So it's part of life. Yeah. Stuff happens.
Exactly. Another reason why I'm asking this is the fact that a lot of strength coaches, especially in the last 1 or 2 years, are trying to track sleep of players as much as they can, give some values behind it, use different gadgets to track it and so on. But I think it's very, very important piece of information in case you lose, like you're sleep deprived or you lose an important part of night by being awake. It's important to know more or less, not the details, but more or less the reasons why you were awake, because the stress behind loss of sleep is not the same if you spend some time with your kid, where you wake up a little bit grumpy, but still that you did something for your kid, or you couldn't sleep because you spent money on betting or whatever, and then you couldn't fall asleep because you spent tons of money not worth spending on betting, So because this problem will probably stay with you throughout the day, even throughout the following days, so it might impact also how you work in the following days in the gym, how you behave on the court and so on. And then knowing that you don't have to know a lot about family. As a strength and conditioning coach, you don't need to know a lot about the family, but you need to know if player has kids, if the wife is at home, if they travel, back and forth, or they live together and so on. So I think these kind of information that you collect could be a really important piece of information to improve the communication between strength coach and the player. To finish this interview, I prepared some quick questions, and let's see, just for fun. They are not something that strength and conditioning coaches will benefit from, but maybe some of the questions will be interesting for them. Your favorite food as an American? Let's see what you say. Spaghetti. Yeah, I was thinking that you're gonna say something Italian and something sweet. I know that you love the
cinnamon rolls.
Cinnamon rolls, yeah.
Something like this.
And then those you told me that in Italy you enjoyed a lot the ones like not the cinnamon rolls, but the rolls filled with vanilla sauce.
Yeah.
Those are
just anything sweet with a cream filling or a cream sauce is that's gonna get me every time.
Okay, favorite drink?
Gatorade.
Really?
Yeah, I mean.
Any specific flavor?
No, I mean I like the light blue. I'll say if I had to pick one, light blue. In the summers, I go back home because obviously in the States we have. If you walk in the grocery store, it's 50 different flavors of Gatorade. So for me, have that on hand in my house. It'll be there all the time. So
crazy. When I was a kid, we would go to Italy to play like basketball tournaments with my basketball school, and I think it was one of the few countries in Europe that was selling Gatorade. It was like 98, 99. And then when I went home, there was one gym, I don't know for what reason, there was one fitness center, a gym that had Gatorade in my hometown. And then I was helping them with some kind of marketing thing. I was just bringing those little notes that the new gym in town is open, and they would instead of paying me, they would give me a pack of Gatorade, and I would be like super happy about it, because it was always connected to NBA, those kind of stuff. Perfect. When you need to compare Gatorade to Powerade?
Gatorade.
Yeah. But is it similar? Because I'm not enjoying it anymore. So
at the end, I think it's pretty similar. I don't know. I think it's like Coke or Pepsi.
Mm-hmm.
It's just your preference.
Okay.
Yeah.
So next one, Coke. Okay, and Coke, Pepsi.
Coke.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. Your favorite NBA player of all times?
Michael Jordan.
Okay.
Easy.
Simple. Okay. Your favorite teammate? It doesn't have to be on the current team. Just who is your
That's
favorite
a tough one.
teammate?
I've played with a lot of great guys. I'd maybe go back. I don't think I can pick one. I'll be honest. It'd be hard to pick one, and I don't want anybody to come at me for not picking them. But I'd say my college team. I spent 4 years, and you grow with those guys. You do so much on and off the court. So I'd say every college teammate that I had through 4 years, that's like family. That's like brothers to me. So we have a group chat. We stay in touch. Somebody writes a message at least once a day, so we all stay in touch. And
that's really cool.
Yeah, it's like a little family. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's nice. Let's talk about the best starting five from your teammates that you had, But now we are talking about quality, okay? Not your relationship, but the quality of players from position 1 to position 5, and you can include yourself if you have some doubts.
Tough. So best starting five I've played with. I'll do Europe. I'd say. As a point guard, I'd probably say Malcolm Delaney. We played together in Locomotive. I'll put myself as a 2 just because I want to play with these guys.
That's fair.
As a 3, maybe Victor Claver, also in Locomotive. Also a good guy. We stay close. As a 4. I gotta say Toko. He's one of the most powerful guys that I've been around anywhere, Europe or the NBA. So, and obviously we're Georgian teammates as well, so that adds to it. And as a 5, I could go a lot of ways here. As a 5, I'd probably say Vince Puer. The last 2 years with him, he adds a lot to the game, rebounding, defense, offense. And he was so young when he played here. He learned, a lot, and you just saw him progress. And now in the NBA, I think that would be my 5.
Excellent. I like it. Who is or who was the best coach that you worked with?
Head coach. Best head coach, I'd say maybe Bartzokis. There's different ways to look at it. I think there's coaches that I've played for that have been really good at one thing and not good at communicating or one thing. Then they're really good at communicating. They're not good with the X's and O's. Bartzokis, he was good because he had a simple system of X's and O's that worked with the players that we had, and he also understood how to interact with guys and make sure practices were intense, but at the same time, as soon as we were done, you keep it loose. You understand what the players are going through, and he was amazing treating all of those things. So for me, Bartzokis.
Excellent. One strength and conditioning question. What is your favorite one pick exercise in the weightlifting room?
Probably just a simple back squat. I think that's the one thing that I've held on to since college that prepares me more than anything.
Heavy squat or like moderate?
Change it. I think you got to change it. If you're preseason, obviously go heavy. During the season, you got to pick your times when and where to go heavy, and then sometimes just kind of do a light explosive. So for me, it's just mixing it up and going with the feel.
Yeah, that's why I like to work with you, because for me it's so simple. That's why I ask, because I know the answer, but I want people to hear, like, when you work with a smart player, that everything is pretty simple, and then you can adjust. Okay, simple squat, and then, as you say, we pick the moment where you go heavy, we pick the moment when you go a little bit lighter, and that works. Okay, last question. I also know the answer, but just to be supportive, favorite football team?
Vikings. American football.
Yeah, that's what. You're American. So.
Minnesota Vikings, so.
Perfect.
That's my team. I know maybe Joe will watch this, so I know he's a Packers guy, so. We got to beat the Packers this year. That's my only goal.
Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot, man.
All right, bro.
Really appreciate it. Guys, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. As you could see, I was really excited to listen to Matthew's answers, and I hope in the future we will bring more players here so we can learn from their experiences. And I don't know who's gonna be the next guest, but I will do my best to catch someone pretty soon. And if you like this episode, don't forget to share it. If you like the content on the channel, you can subscribe to it, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.